Hi, good evening, 𝘀𝗵𝗁𝗶. Great. So there's Alaknanda, Aman, Ambar, Amit, Chandrika, 𝘀𝗵𝗁𝗶, Gayatri, Jagannath, Kanika. Komal, oh, my namesake. Lucky Porwal, a lot of people. Sanskriti, Sarvesh, Shabnam, Shalini. Welcome everybody. 𝘀𝗵𝗶𝗃, Uttam, Vrinda. Welcome everyone. Great. So, what we're going to talk about today is basically 5 skills. And how many people have been there, in my webinars before? So, I'm just thinking, do I need to introduce myself properly to people there? Are there anyone who's been here for the first time? Someone who's in my webinar for the first time? Attending it for the first time? Lucky is in for the first time. Mohsin for the first time, Chandrika for the first time. Okay, a lot of people who are attending the webinar for the first time. Brilliant. So guys, just to introduce myself, my name is Komal Shah and I am a co-founder and content head for LawSikho, right? And we're going to talk about today about 5 skills which can be really useful for any lawyer. Like it can be any legal area that you are in. It could be corporate or litigation or any legal area that you are in. Okay, if you are a lawyer, okay, then these 5 skills can turn out to be very handy for you, very useful for you. Okay, and this is what we are going to discuss about today. Hi Jagannath. So final year student, okay, everyone is putting in their LinkedIn profiles. That's a good idea. People have done this before, like, sharing LinkedIn profiles. It's a good idea to do that. And by the way, like, it's connected to one of the skills we're going to talk about today. So, are you anxious to know what are the 5 skills? Thank you so much, Urvashi. So there are 5. Are you anxious to know what are those things like which we really want to acquire as a lawyer, right? So let's get into that. Okay. So this can help in any legal career, whether you are getting into litigation, whether you are into corporate law, in corporate also, if you are in different branches, or if you are in specialized domains like IP or technology or competition or any kind of legal area. These 5 are something that will help you anywhere. Okay. So let's first um, talk about this. Okay, as lawyers, the thing is we kind of, and lot many times because the way we've been groomed at school and everything, we kind of tend to focus on knowledge. Okay, but there is difference between knowledge and skills. So what is the difference? Can anyone understand and can anyone state this? So we say it's very important to gain knowledge. Definitely, people say knowledge is power. For sure, knowledge is power. But there's a difference between knowledge and skills. So what is the difference? Skill is something you are specialized in. Knowledge can also be something you have specialized. Exactly, Jagannath. So that's what it is. There's an application, right? When you say you are skilled at something, okay, you are talking of the knowledge that you have applied, and not only applied just once or twice or something, but you've done it so many times before that now you are really good at it. Okay, so when we talk of a skill, it's basically applied knowledge. Okay, yeah, knowledge when practically used is a skill, and not only used just once but many times. So let's just say someone is getting a training in driving, and people can be given a simulator to train in driving, but then when they actually start driving, okay, that's when they begin to apply that knowledge. Okay, so they know that how the accelerator works, how the brake works, and when they apply that, then that becomes application of the knowledge. And when they have done it too many times, like many times they have done it, it's become very regular, fairly regular, then you can say that they are skilled at driving, because by now they have dealt with so many situations on the road that they are able to kind of maneuver their way through different situations. They are able to react, they are able to manage the responses to those situations because they have done it too many times. So when you say someone is skilled at something, then that means that he has applied that knowledge for a good period of time. That's when they are skilled. That's when someone is skilled at something, right? And why are skills more important? Why is skill more important and, like, relevant to work with? Why is skill important for you? Like, knowledge definitely is power, as we said, but why are skills important? Can anyone say? Why is it important to possess skills? Why is it important to be skilled at something? To have done it repeatedly? Okay, let me see some responses. To succeed in job, practicality always helps, so we can work effectively and efficiently, especially in today's world. Yeah, so you are not going to get, you will not be bogged down, you will not be puzzled, you will not be in a situation where the circumstances kind of make you confused and you don't know how to react, because you are skilled in something. So automatically that response comes to you, right? It becomes very natural to react in a particular manner when you are skilled, rather than when you have just begun to learn something, or only if you know, okay, you still don't know what to do in that situation. But if you are skilled at something, you know exactly how to react in that situation, and it becomes very natural for you. Possessing skills make you confident, of course, yeah. You will venture out to situations because venture out into different situations because you trust that you will be able to react whatever comes at you. Okay, react in any situation. Okay, if you don't know how to put it to use, then it's kind of useless. Absolutely. Okay, so skills are very important, right? Because of these reasons, because if you don't know how to use that, and Swapnil actually reminded me of one like mythological situation. We should always try to demonstrate skills. Yes, yes, Urvashi, that's there. Swapnil kind of, reminded me of one situation. There's a mythological situation like in the Mahabharata, like this, that you had there's a character called Kern. Now, I'm not sure how familiar you guys are with mythology, but then he is cursed that at the point of time when you will maximum need your skills, you will forget it. So now, although all of his life he is kind of skilled in lot of using lot of weapons and the bow and arrow and everything, at the point of time when he needs to use it to the maximum extent possible, he forgets that skill. So therefore now it becomes like, very important that you do know how to react. You are able to use, you are skilled at something rather than just possessing the knowledge. What are transferable skills? Can anyone talk about this? What do you say? What do you mean when someone says transferable skills? Anyone heard of this term? Transferable skills. No, skills which can be used in different situations. Yeah, very close. Like, it is basically skills which you can apply one skill which you can apply to different areas of your work. Okay, so there are certain skills which will be specific only to that area. For example, if there is a skill of arguing before a court, now that is one specific skill. Now if you want to apply it to contract drafting, then that is not possible, because the skill of arguing before the court, or court craft as people say, that is relevant to a litigator, but then that is not transferable if you want to apply it to if you want to apply it to contract drafting. But let's talk about the skill to communicate effectively and make other people understand something. Now, this is equally applicable in a situation where you are arguing something before a judge, and it's equally applicable in a situation where you are negotiating or discussing a contract, okay, for on behalf of a client with the opposite party. Okay, because it's your communication, you are able to put things forth effectively. So it's a transferable skill. Okay, so if you have that skill where you are able to really communicate and put forth things very well to somebody, then that skill can be transferred to other areas of work as well, right? So you have to think of what are the skills or what are the elements of skills that you possess which can be transferred across different areas of work. Okay, it will be useful in one area, it will be useful in another area, it will be useful in third area also. Okay, so skills like that, transferable skills. Why are employers interested in transferable skills? Now this is very obvious, because if you hire people who have very specific skills, then in fact even recruiters like people who have a lot of transferable skills, because it may be very difficult to find a job or an employer, or some work which is very specific to the skill that you know that you are specialized in. If you're skilled in something that is very very specific, then that skill will be applicable only as long as that work is there with that employer, or as long as the recruiter is able to find a job with that specific skill. But if you have transferable skills, then it can be applied to one job, another job, third job. Similarly, in an employer's case, they will be they will be able to apply to one department, another department, third department. They will be able to shift you, because it's a skill which can be equally applied to all departments. So the more transferable skills you have, okay, which you can uh, use in multiple places, it is very good for you. Audio is clear, but coming from a distance. Is anybody else also facing this problem? I'm moving closer. Anyone else has issues? Komal is not facing this issue. Okay. Mira, I guess then you need to, I just increase the volume. Now, is that a little bit better for you guys? That a little bit better? I increase the volume. Yeah. Brilliant. Okay. So transferable skills is what we can focus in, and then we will talk about 5 skills, like I said, that will help any lawyer, but we will talk about skills which are transferable. Okay, so which can be applied to different areas, which can be applied whether you are in-house, whether you are in practice. Okay, so we will talk of transferable skills. This is the first one, like this is very relevant. Oratory skills, your ability to speak. Okay, and I remember one situation very well from my student days. I was coordinating a training program, right? I was coordinating and I was arranging the speakers. I was reaching out to different lawyers and all of that, for like taking sessions and coordinating and planning the time with them and doing all of that, right? So I particularly remember one indirect tax lawyer. Okay, I went to his office. I told him that I am here to like, coordinate and plan your session for this program. And he called me to his office. And then I went there. And when I went into his chambers, he was like sitting down there, and then he was talking, and I kind of said that, sir, we would like to have you take the session in this program and all. And the guy immediately stood up and he started pacing down the room, right? And I was very nervous. I was like, oh my God, what is he going to do? Like, has he seen me or something? Because what I did is I told him that sir, I had seen you at this session before, and I really like that session of yours. And I believe that, if you take a session in this program also, it will be very helpful. And this guy started pacing, and I was like, oh my God, what is going to say? And then all of a sudden, after that pacing, he says that, have you considered litigation as a career? Right? And this was a complete bomb for me, because like I wasn't even thinking anything like that. And I had gone to him only to just, arrange this session and everything. And he is like, and I was at a very junior level, like, student at that time, and I wasn't even thinking of all of those things. So I told him that, uh, I don't have any kind of knowledge to do this. Like, I don't know how to do these things. I have no clue what to speak. And, I have no clue, like, what the things are about, what indirect tax and all of that is about. I just liked your session. So I came to invite you. And he was still pacing. And he told me that it is not like, the knowledge at all. And I was like, wow, this guy who's really an expert in indirect taxes, he's telling me this. And he's saying it's not the knowledge at all. He says that it is the ability to stand up and speak what you think. Okay. And now, because you have come here and you were sitting down and you were talking with me about what you want and why you want this and all of that very clearly, without like, goofing up, without getting stammering or doing any kind of things. So then I'm like, talking about this with you. And I was like, sir, I don't know. I will think for something. At that point of time, I hadn't even considered all of those things. But this is what happened. So oratory skills, the guy ultimately told me that it's not so much of your knowledge, but it's your ability to stand up and speak and express yourself clearly about what you want, right? So oratory skills, this is what he told me about. Like, and he was a very good indirect tax lawyer. So now, do you know people who always seem to gather a crowd around them? Like you've seen probably, there'll be people in your college all the time. They are surrounded by other people, and they seem to be attracting people towards them, like magnets, because of the way they speak and because of how they are able to communicate and get through to people. They are always surrounded by a crowd. How many of you have seen people like this? Say yes. In your college, in your batchmates, classmates, they always seem to gather a crowd around them, right? They are like yeah. So this is what they are capable to do. They are able to like get through, speak up things very, very, very smoothly, very easily. They are able to communicate and get through to people. Okay, they have very good oratory skills. And people, when they start speaking, people kind of find it so interesting, and this is not necessarily really knowledgeable speakers. There are some people who are very skilled at telling stories, and even you will find a crowd that is around them because they are very good at telling stories. People know that, if you're going to stand next to this guy, you will get 5 6 very interesting anecdotes or stories or something. And it's like it's something that you would like to be. It's just entertaining, right? So what traits can you find in good speakers? Like these people who are good at speaking, whether they are speaking something that is professional or related to work, or something that are stories like narrating anecdotes and all. They will begin a narrative with a strong hook, and they will do this like Something like, do you know what happened that day? And you are like curious that, okay, fine, what happened? So they get you. Okay, they kind of hook you to what is going to happen, and they give you so much of details and everything that you are just, you are quiet, like you don't know what to say and you just want to listen. You want to go on listening because it's so interesting, right? So they begin the narrative with a very strong hook. You always, you'll notice people who are like this, they, when they start speaking, it will be like a very strong hook that they begin with when they are narrating. They are able to structure their thoughts very nicely. Okay, and they don't need to use filler words. So when you are not very, the words or the thoughts are not clearly shaped in your head, you start to use filler words like okay, let me think, things like that. Okay, so you start using filler words, something that comes in between, so that you are able to organize the thoughts and the words in your brain, and then you are able to speak. But people who are really good like orators, they don't need to do that. There's a fluency that you will find. They are not required to use filler words. They have their thoughts being structured very nicely, and they will be talking in an ongoing manner without having to do the and things like that. Okay, structuring thoughts and not using filler words. Ability to respond quickly and appropriately. How many times will it have happened in a conversation to you that you kind of think that this is what I should have said at that time? You know, it strikes you later after the whole conversation is over and the person is already gone. Then you think that, oh, I should have said this to him or her. Okay, I changed the slide by mistake. For some reason, my cursor is having a mind of its own right now. So, ability to respond quickly and appropriately. So, people will be thinking, just one sec. I think I. Yeah, I think it should be working better now. I think there was just some change in settings. So, the ability to respond quickly and appropriately, right? So, if you, how many times you will be thinking that this is what I should have said to that person? Okay. Krishna, are you able to hear now? Krishna, am I audible, guys? Yeah, brilliant. So the ability to respond quickly and appropriately. So you know exactly what to say to the communication that is ongoing. You know, you are able to uh, give a proper answer, and you are able to give that answer promptly without having to process the thing in your head. You are able to quickly answer. Okay, so that is the ability to respond quickly and appropriately. Okay, and not just say something at that moment, or after, then later on think, after the communication is already over, later on you think that, oh, I should have said this. Okay, that's not what happens to good speakers. They are able to respond quickly and appropriately. Beaming enthusiasm and energy in the voice. So this is very necessary. If you find speakers who are dull, they're not into the thing at all. They are losing the interest themselves, and they are not sure what they're talking about. You've seen people will be looking, rolling their eyes, they're looking at the ceiling like that. Okay, so there is a complete lack of interest. You will find speakers like that. Okay, so if that's not the case with good speakers, you will find, like, you know, enthusiasm and the energy in the voice. But there can be lots of people who are dull speakers. Okay, so people generally don't prefer that. People like energy and enthusiasm. Great voice culture. This is something that, you know, it's not easy to develop because it needs a lot of practice. And voice culture is basically the ability to move the voice high in pitch or low in pitch, okay, the ability to pause where it is required. All of those things are covered within voice culture. And it's not very easy to learn. It needs efforts, it needs a lot of practice, okay, before someone can have a good voice culture. But there are people who have really great voice culture, such that if you are just listening to them, you feel like going on listening to them. The voice is that way, okay, it's moving very nicely in a high or a low manner. Intonation is very nice, pauses are there at the right places to make you think, let you process the thoughts, okay, so they are able to manage the voice in a very good way. That's a great voice culture. Now, how to develop the oratory skills? So we saw what all of these people will possess, but how do we get there? How do we actually get those kind of skills? So how do we work on it? This is a number one thing. Okay, listening aptly. This is very much necessary, because just think of how you learn any kind of language. Okay, the first requirement to be able to learn words, vocabulary, etc. in a language is to be able to listen clearly. Okay, so when you find people who are deaf, then they will also become dumb because of that reason, because they can't hear it. So it's like, they don't know how to speak because of that. Okay, so if you have a really good listening skill, then you are also getting, what are the words that the person is speaking, what kind of language they are using, how are they able to get through to the audience, how are they moving their voice up and down, how are they pausing. All of those things you will get or grasp if you are listening aptly. Proper listing is not hearing. It's not listing, listening. Yeah. Proper listening, not hearing. Correct. Okay. So when you are listening it, you are actually taking in all of those things of the speaker. Then you will be able to speak also that way, because the first step to be able to speak properly is to listen aptly. Asking questions. So where you are not getting things, if you are able to ask questions, no worries at all. Anmol. So if you are able to ask questions, ask the right kind of questions, okay, then what will happen is that your processing of thoughts, okay, in alignment with that communication or the conversation which is ongoing, okay, will be developed when you start asking questions. Because when someone answers one question, then again something else crops into your head. So your thinking or your processing of the conversation develops a lot. And because of that, even when you are speaking, you will be able to process those thoughts that fast. Okay, when you are asking questions to a speaker, uh, promptly as the questions arise, your processing becomes faster. And then while speaking also, you will be able to do that. You will be able to have thoughts which are in a continuous flow. Structure or arrange your thoughts in your head first, and you do mirror talk. Practice before a mirror. Like, this is that people actually used. They practice their speeches, they practice talking to a mirror, okay, and see how they are looking when they are expressing, okay. And so this is just an exercise where you are able to put everything in a 1 2 3 logical sequence, and you are able to speak like that. Okay, get the required training. Now, there are lots of people who provide training for public speaking or even one-to-one communications. All of that, people do provide training. You will find a good trainer who trains you in speaking. So when in my college days, I had 7 days training, which was in public speaking, and it involved a lot of different things. Like, you had to speak on a particular subject for a limited period of time, like 1 minute. You had to speak to a bunch of complete strangers where you didn't know who they are and find out about them. All of those things were involved in the training program. So if you find a good training program which enables you even to speak to one, communicate one to one, or engage in public speaking, speaking one to many, okay, you can use that. So you get the required training. You practice speaking, so you make videos, you share them, and we encourage this for many of our students that develop short videos. Okay, it's not supposed to be like a long lecture. People presumably get bored by really long lectures. If you're making really short videos, something like 3 minutes, okay, which can be a proper attention span to hold people. If you are able to speak for 3 minutes and you are able to make a point, okay, make some sharp point, speak about some analysis that you have done, speak about some cases that you have found out about, some event that happened, okay, if you are able to do that and make videos and you share them, and suddenly you will start getting traction. Okay, it may be very slow at first, but when you start sharing them and as you improve gradually, you will get traction on social media by doing this. Okay, and you will train yourself also. Okay, so it's an art to speak to a camera, and it's an art to speak to people live. So if you are able to speak equally to a camera in the same manner as if you are talking live to the people and seeing their expressions and everything, that is commendable. Like, you will get good traction. This is another skill which is of course transferable. Like I said, oratory is transferable anywhere. If you are able to speak well, you are able to get the attention of the people by your speaking. This is useful across the board anyway, particularly in the profession of lawyers. It will become useful because as litigators you will have to speak when you are in a courtroom proceeding. As other transactional lawyers or something, you will have to speak when you are negotiating with someone else. You will have to speak to clients in such a manner that they are able to believe you. Okay, they believe that, yeah, okay, it seems like this guy has something or has some stuff, okay, and I will be able to get my problem solved. Okay, so oratory is very important for a lawyer, because like unlike other businesses, the other people can just, even if they don't know how to speak very well, if they have a very good product, they'll just present the product and someone will buy it because the product itself is very good, so they don't need to have this oratory and all. But in the case of lawyers, all that you are selling is your skills. So then you have to be able to speak effectively to communicate people that the skills are worth and that you are capable of solving their problems. Writing skills, this is again across the board, transferable, applicable to everything. Okay, whether you are drafting petitions, drafting contracts, writing blogs, doing content writing for different people, writing articles, writing updates for law firms, okay, writing opinions for clients, anywhere, if you have good writing skills, it will be useful and very transferable across the board. Okay. What are the features of a good written piece? This is something that I always kind of want to discuss, because it's not easy to find people who can write very well. Never, I can never stress this enough, right? It's not, good writing skills are not commonly available. What is engagement? Okay. So you guys seen gripping movies or read really gripping gripping novels. They are what you can call unputdownable. Okay, so series like, the live series that you see on Netflix or Amazon or something, it is so gripping that you have to binge watch it. It is so engaging, it is so gripping, you are hooked onto it. Okay, you can't, and you seem to forget other things, it is so engaging. Okay, unputdownable books are also like that. Some books move so fast from one scenario or one situation to another, that you are able to, it is very difficult for you to leave it and put it down. You were so curious to know what happens next that you are just going to go and finish it and read it all. So engagement, so writing has to be that hooking, that gripping, that engaging for you to begin where you are reading, and then up to the end, you know, you will keep reading. It has to hold you with both the hands. Okay, so much of engagement it has to have. And so many times I see that people write and it is very clear that they themselves did not read what they had written, because it's very visible that there was, like, you know, a lack of interest or engagement for themselves itself when they are writing. So they own themselves did not find their writing so engaging that they would read it once again, right? Because if they had written it in that way, they would read, like, you know, many times. If you've written a good piece, if you've written something very well, okay, after a week, if you read it once again, you will be like, wow, I had written something so beautiful. Okay, that is what is engagement. It has to be so um, hooking, it has to be so gripping that you can't leave it. Okay, even if you read it second time after a period of time, still you want to read through the whole thing, and only then you stop. Until then you don't feel like stopping. That is what engagement is. So that has to be there in whatever is written. If you can write like this, that's incredible. Okay, it resonates with the reader, it is understandable, and it makes perfect sense to them. Okay, now if I am talking to you about, let's say, something that deals with engineering and how machines work and all of that, how much will it resonate with you? You are here to talk about something that's legal, right, or relates to law, or relates to skills or something. So how much would machines or something be relevant to you? Okay, it has to be relevant, it has to resonate with the reader. Okay, who is, so you always think when you are writing that who is going to be reading this, and who is going to be searching this on the internet. Okay, so am I answering or catering to those people? That is something that you have to think. Okay, it is understandable. You have learned, a lot of lawyerly words, or you want to show that, you know, you are someone who people can call learned. So you use words which are really bombastic, or you use jargons, or you use things which people literally have to sit down with a dictionary to read and understand. It's very difficult. You are not going to engage readers like that. Okay, because people's flow of reading gets broken because of this. Okay, because they don't understand this word, and now they have to search and they have to find out what this means, and then come back again to resume the reading. They will not do that, it will break. Okay, so it has to be understandable, which means it has to be written very, very simply. Okay, are there any questions? Yeah, they are relatable. Yeah, you will feel that. Okay, and you do that, you will do that. You will want to use, there's a really nice fancy word you heard somewhere in a conference, and now you want to use that in your writing. You know, my 10-year-old daughter does it. She will see videos, she will use that word, and she will want to use that in the conversation because it is so fancy and interesting to her, so she wants to use it. Okay, but the other person, if they don't know the meaning of that, they will disconnect with it. Okay, and it has to make perfect sense to them. Okay, so it has to make sense to a reader, that okay, this seems logical and this seems believable. Okay, if you're bringing something to them like Rajnikant, then it's not believable. It's good for entertainment for some point of time, you know, where in some movies you say that you must put your brain at home and you come to see this movie, then it's okay. So but that's not, you can't do that in the lawyers, like, you know, work. It's there for entertainment. For entertainment, it's a different thing altogether, but you can't do that in your work. It has to make perfect sense to people, it has to seem believable, logical, appropriate. Yeah, there are questions. Please put your questions in the chat for right now if you have them. People are raising their hands. Please put your questions or comments in the chat. What is structuring or flow in a write-up? You know how some films are, like they are ongoing in a one, in the current situation, then again suddenly they go in flashback, then again they come in the present, then again they go in the flashback, then again they come in the present situation. So it's a disruption. Okay, so sometimes if you're seeing that kind of thing, you can be boggled. Okay, that what is exactly is happening, I'm confused, I don't understand this. So if your writing is like that, okay, that you are talking about one stream of thoughts, suddenly you move away from that stream to something else, okay, and then you come back again to that stream, again you move to something else. So that structuring or flow in the write-up is not there. It has to be all interconnected sequences in the writing so that it flows very smoothly and you are able to connect the events one after the other. You are able to link the thoughts or insights that are shared in that write up one after another, and things don't seem like it is going in the flow and then suddenly it breaks into something else. It doesn't look like that. Okay, so there has to be this structuring or flow in a write up, and you are supposed to do this even when you are kind of drafting petitions or you are drafting legal opinions. You have to follow this. You have to do it like that, because if you are disrupting the sequence of events, okay, for example, and you are giving something in the beginning and then you are coming back to the initial facts, okay, that's how you are presenting things, then it becomes very disrupting for read. Okay, for a reader it is like, what is this like? It doesn't make any logical sense. It seems like it's completely out of place and all around. Okay, so petitions, legal opinions also you have to draft it that way. Someone is going back in flashback. I just mentioned about flashback. Someone is going back in the flashback for oratory traits. I should be able to answer promptly. Is knowledge of what you are talking about not crucial? Yes, it is crucial. Of course, it is crucial. But despite having knowledge, many people don't have the structuring of the thoughts. So, like I said, after the conversation, you think that you should have spoken this. So, at that time, also, you possess knowledge. Afterwards, also, you possess the knowledge. But you weren't able to apply it. So, that is lack of skills. Okay? You knew it all the time what to say. You knew all the time what to say. Okay, but you weren't able, it didn't strike you at that point of time. So that is skill. How to develop writing skills? I think we have done n number of webinars on this thing, but there are some things that this is one thing that is very, very important, and like unless you have this, it's not possible. Simply it is not possible. And I can say this from my personal experience, because when I started writing, working for LawSikho, started writing, the first write up that I did after 10 years of like experience in working in corporate law and all, first write up that I did went for a review 5 times. Okay. So it had to be reviewed and re-reviewed 5 times. Okay, after an experience of 10 years and everything in corporate law. Okay, so unless you have a habit of writing, okay, your skills of being able to deliver something in a court, or your skills of being able to negotiate, or your whatever work you have done as such, unless you have a proper habit to write, it will it will become very difficult. So you have to have a habit of writing. Okay, every day you must write certain number of words. People who are in that zone and who do that every day, they write certain number of words every day, whether they like it or not. They are really tired, whatever. This much number of words I have, this many words I have to write before I go to sleep. That's it. Okay, just a decided thing that it has to be a habit. Okay, so habit of writing, it has to be there. Reading different forms of writing. Okay, if you are reading just one kind of thing all the time, one journal, one newspaper, one form of reading all the time, it becomes very difficult. You have to expose yourself to different forms of writing. Okay, it can be entertainment related, it can be comics, it can be a movie review. You may be reading different kinds of blogs, you may be reading different types of newspapers. Okay, so you read different forms of writing, then it increases your versatility. Okay, you are able to use different kinds of structures in your writing. If you don't read anyone's writing, who will read yours? This was a question that was posed to me ages back by someone, you know, and I was very young. I was writing poetry at that point of time, and someone just stepped up and asked me, who's your favorite poet? And I was like, I don't have any favorite poet, it's okay, like, you know. And then this lady told me that you don't like someone else's writing, you haven't read other people's writing, then who's going to read yours? You know, you are not exposed yourself to a lot of different things that are there. Who's going to read your poetry? Okay, and a very relevant question, and it's worth thinking that if you expose yourself to different forms of writing, what kind of genre should a law student primarily focus on? You can read a lot of different things. And writing, as far as writing is concerned, I will tell you that even if you have read uh, movie reviews at some point of time, or you have read things which have been written in a very entertaining manner. Some people write blogs right like that. Some people write books like that as if they are talking. So you have read those kinds of books, then that method or that kind of vocabulary or style, writing style which people have used, somewhere you will be able to bring in your writing at some point of time. Different kinds of writing styles you will be able to put. Okay, so genre, you can choose whatever you want to write on. People can write on a lot of different things. Okay, people have blogs which talk about, it's not necessary that lawyers have blogs which are only related to law. Okay, lots of lawyers have blogs which are related to a lot of different things like mental health, and then, like, you know, career, and there will be lots of different things that people write on. And as long as you have exposed yourself to different styles of writing, you will be able to bring it. Okay, so genre doesn't matter, whatever appeals to you. Okay, and what you feel like expressing yourself in. And if you have developed this habit, then you will be able to, it will just strike your mind, and you will open the laptop and you will start writing. In case of people like me who are in this in since a long period of time now, so now if you've done that on a very habituated basis, sometimes it becomes a need. Okay, in people, case of people like me, I have a need to write. I have to say that, you know, if I haven't written something in the day, it's like I haven't had a good day, I haven't done much. That's what you will feel like. So right, it's a need to write. It's not even a habit, it becomes like a need. Okay, so maintaining a diary or a blog, diaries, people used to write diaries since ages ago, that you know, you shared what you kind of talk to yourself about what happened during the day and what your thoughts were. From where one should start reading, you can start reading anything that seems really interesting to you. Okay, but of course, have age appropriate things that are there, right? You know, something that seems interesting in a lot of different ways. It will just develop your thoughts, and start writing 1,000 words. There are websites, like someone told me that there's a website which makes you write 1,000 words every day. Okay, 1,000 words every day. You have to write whatever it is you write on. It's not necessary that you write on any topic, specific topic that's related to law, but you write on anything 1,000 words during the day, and suddenly you will be able to express yourself in multiple different topics. Even in your profession, you will be able to express. Okay, because that thought flow and that ability to express has been developed. How can writing helpful for our profession? Because most of the lawyers writing are also not on good. So yeah, unless you have an Anmol, this is also the thing. Okay, writing not good. Good writing is also one thing that I quote this example. Okay, that people when they begin to write, they can be making lots of grammatical mistakes. They can be structuring their sentences incorrectly. Okay, so the construction of the sentence is not proper. There is improper punctuation. All of these things can happen in the beginning. They will happen to everybody. Okay, and even if you have a lot of practice, still this situation can arise. Okay, so it will happen, but if you keep at it on an ongoing basis, okay, I don't know the name of the website, Jagannath, I'm really sorry, but you can Google and find out which website makes you mandatorily write 1000 words every day. If not, you don't need a website. You just open a Google Doc and you make a point that you're going to write 1000 words, let's say on the day that passed for you. Okay, that's what diary is. So there are people who have questions. Research. Now this is lot of times people kind of do not understand research. People will think that if I find a relatable article on the internet that is there, that is research. Okay, and I'll tell you what is the difference here. Okay, just some time back I had a student question that it was a lockdown that was happening, and he was saying that he is into an industrial area, and he knows that there has been some changes on the government allowing the local state government allowing starting of certain industries. He knows that there have been changes because somewhere he's heard that, he's seen in the news, people have passed on WhatsApp, something like that. He's seen that, but try as he may, he is not able to find the exact kind of industries that the government is allowed to start, and what exactly is allowed to be started, for how long they are allowed to be kept open. He found it very, very difficult. Okay? He was not able to find this answer, that what are the industries, the types of industries which the local state government, and I'm talking about Bombay, so it's Maharashtra state government, has allowed people to commence, which have where they have released the lockdown and they have allowed to start. Okay, so this is the question that he's looking to get the answer of, and he's looked around and he can't find the answer to this. Okay, so what are the features of a good research? The first thing is it has to answer the exact question asked. Now, what he was able to find by Googling and everything was that there were some news items which talked about the government having allowed certain industries which were open. Okay, there were uh, some newspaper extracts which he could find. There were some comments by people. There were some tweets. There were some posts. All of that he was able to find on the internet, but he wasn't able to find the answer to this exact question. Okay, so now in this, the skill is to be able to know exactly where you are going to look. Now you know that there has to be something like a circular or a notification by the Maharashtra government declaring this, right? It has to be notified somewhere. They would have released a circular somewhere and they would have made it open to find that out, and they will have listed it in that. So this is what you're looking for. Now you are trying, even in the news pieces, you are trying to find the link to the exact circular or notification where all of those industries are listed. So it has to be very sharp to that point. If you go on Googling for news items which are talking about that, it will give you a very broad area, but it will not answer your exact question which is asked. Okay. So you have to find exactly that notifications which speaks of that. Okay, and that's where, I worked with him on that thing, that how do you go closer to where you find the exact answer to this question. Okay, and we actually dug out that notification from the website of the state government somewhere, uh, to talking about what exactly were the industries that were opened up during the lockdown. So that is what research is. Okay, it is not something that just you find on the internet which is connected and you do that. It has to answer the exact question that you are looking for. It is comprehensive but sharp and relevant. Okay, so if you are asked a very specific question on something, you have to think of what are the connected questions that, or what are the next questions that the person will have when they are looking for research. What are the next questions that you will face, okay, when you are dealing with a particular matter, and you have to find answers to all those questions. Okay, so comprehensive, but again sharp and relevant. So it has to be only answers to the connected questions, and you don't go out and go all over the internet and find different things. How many times that happens? Okay, you were just out on the internet and one thing leads to another, and you have wasted 4 hours and yet not found something that is exactly connected and relevant to it. Okay, so many times that happens. So comprehensive but sharp and relevant. And how to develop good research skills. Okay, so how will you have things like that? First of all, you should have curiosity. Okay, so even if someone is not asked you the question, the minute something comes to you, immediately your brain will get into action that how exactly does this happen? Okay, how did that happen? I had heard this. Okay, and who are these people? Where do they stay? What is this country about? What is this law about? Where are these sections, or where is this thing mentioned? Okay, it's just a very curious brain and very curious mind that you want to look for answers to all of these. Everything, all kinds of these questions come buzzing to your head, and you want to look for answers. So if it is curiosity like that, the thing will be that you will be looking for answers. Okay, and the more you are looking for answers that are there for your questions, you will be trained on how to find answers fast. Don't restrict yourself, but don't digress. I think this is very connected with the comprehensive but sharp and relevant research kind of thing. So you don't just limit to that one question which is asked, because then from that question another question can spring. Okay, but again you don't digress totally, like that you don't come to a very different domain altogether, like it happens in Chinese whispers. Okay, what are Chinese whispers? People know that game. It's a communication game that many people play. You have to speak in somebody's ear, and then the person speaks in someone else's ear. And the what is the thing that was given to the first person, and whatever the last person speaks are totally different. Okay, so you don't have to get into that game. You have to know how to search, like I said. So if you are looking for this specific list of industries, then you are not going to look for news items. Okay, and you are not going to look for what that minister has said and where that thing is. You are going to look for that exact circular or notification. You should know that this is what you are hunting for, and then you should be able to connect that this kind of circular or notification can be found, must be somewhere on the website of this government at this place, this department, something like that. Common general knowledge you must have, so you should know how to search for or look for it. This is the other one, networking skills, which people were just mentioned even at the beginning. You have to have this. Okay, and how is this demonstrated? You've seen people who seem to get along with everybody, and they are updated with everyone's news. Okay, you talk to them and then you say that, and then say, oh, he moved on to another firm and he is now somewhere here, and they are updated with everyone's news around the world. You ask, you talk to people about, they know. So these are the people who seem to like get along with everyone. They are updated with everybody's news. They are the people who are very good at networking, and they have very good people skills. So now how do you develop this, and why is it necessary? Why should you know about these kinds of things, because people are at the end of the day relevant. And this is something that, again, one of my seniors told me that when you are going out to in the profession, 85% is your people skills and 15% is your technical skills that is relevant. Okay, so 80-20 Pareto rule, even more than that, 85% is people skills. Okay, 15% is technical skills. If you are looking to really work out and become successful, this is again something that was. So how to develop good networking skills? You have to, like, maintain relationships, and you're going to keep in touch. But that doesn't mean that every other day you are going to hammer them with a good morning on WhatsApp. Okay, and it is, I mean, it's very surprising, it is irritating, but sometimes it has its own relevance. But you're not going to do that, you're not going to hammer that. But once in a while, you're going to check on how are you, what are you doing, where have you moved on, things like that. Okay, it looks like small talk or something, and people actually like being asked, right? I mean, just speaking on the phone, just think of it. What would you like? Someone just directly came and talked to you about the work, or someone just asked us after you and said, how are you keeping? Or if they came to know that, someone in your family is not well or something has happened, then they ask after the health of the people. I'll give you an example. I had met with one person who was looking for me to vote for him in one of the company secretary related elections and all. Now, at that point of time, I was dealing with, and I was having someone who was unwell. Okay, and I told him that I'm actually dealing with a situation where someone is unwell and all. And the guy just says that, okay, fine. So when you get done, can you come and vote? I would just think of the kind of impression that created, for once he didn't even ask that who is that person, how are they keeping, are they close to you in their family, things like that. It doesn't seem, it doesn't make a very good kind of impression, right? You wouldn't feel like actually going out and doing anything for those kind of people. But instead, if once in a while someone were coming and asking after you, your family, people connected with you, then you were interested in talking to them. Quid pro quo. This is very important. Like, you want to help someone, you help someone, inevitably the help comes back after some time. You try it, and we have, you people have seen movie Pay It Forward. How many of you have heard of it or like read about it? Pay It Forward, so you help someone, it goes in a circle and it comes back to you. So quid pro quo. So you help people, you give, and you will be able to take them. People will come and help you. Support, acknowledge, appreciate, empower. All of these things to be there. Like, it is just normal people qualities which we seem to lose very easily because we are kind of, glued to the screens, and we're kind of starting to get away from people and all of that. But the more you do that, like, it is always helpful in networking when you are doing this. Who doesn't like being acknowledged, appreciated, right? And this can be someone who has been appreciated by a lot of people, lot of the time, all the time. Also, even then they like if you are appreciating them. If you one more person, they'll still like it, right? Who doesn't like that? This is the last one, problem solving skills, and this is very relevant to lawyers. It is relevant across the board to most people anywhere. Like, any business or any work that you are doing, this is relevant. But it is relevant to lawyers because many times people come to you only when they have problems, right? So now how to develop this? And this is something, this is very important. You think in organizational terms. And I have seen many people in this zone, what they will do is that there is a roadblock that came, and there is something that not move, doesn't move, and you stop at that point of time that ये तो नहीं हो रहा है, नहीं आगे बढ़ रहा है. It stopped, like, and I can't get through this. There is this problem which is there. I can't do anything about this. Okay, यहाँ पे ये खत्म हो जाता है. So it's stuck. That's where it is. But you think in organizational terms that it's not just the task that what you want to get completed. What is the objective that you seek to achieve by the task? Okay, and what is your company or your firm looking to get done through that particular task? Okay, so like when you are going on a route or by a car, by traveling by road to a destination, and you find that there is a roadblock, like it stops at that point of time. Now what do? Okay, you don't stop and then you go back. You think that I want to reach this destination, so is there any other way to get there? That's how you think, right? So you have to think about in terms of the objective or goal to which the problem is a hindrance. Okay, and you try to think of an alternative route to get there. So then, like if you have to think of a different route where there isn't a roadblock, and you have to find that it may be longer, okay, it may be shorter, it may take you more time, but nevertheless, it will reach you to the destination at some point, right? Discuss it. Many times we do that. We are so many people, we are heroes. Okay, it's a problem. We face it alone and we kind of struggle with it and grapple with it, and we want to conquer it and try it in our own mind. But just think of it. There are other people who have a different perspective to it. So they might bring something into the fold which you have not thought of. They may bring a perspective which you have not thought of. So if you discuss it, you are able to get better solutions. Okay. But again, half of the people will just stop at that roadblock. They won't even think beyond that. If you are thinking beyond that, you will probably discuss and ask people, maybe try to refer to the GPS, refer to the map, ask someone else who's traveled down that road lots of different times. Those options will strike you if you're looking beyond that roadblock. Okay? If you are stopped at that roadblock, you are stopped, then you are not looking it. You are just bringing a problem to the management and saying that this is there and it stops. And you're not thinking in solution terms. Okay, so you think of in solution terms and you discuss it. It is possible to find. Now, this is something that we can do. Anyone has any questions here? Yeah, who has another question? Anmol has another question. Public relations does help good networking skills. Public relation is a different thing altogether that you have. If you are talking about PR, it means like creating visibility for you among the different people. Here, what I am talking about is that the people that you keep up the relations even with them. Okay, or you find new people, you keep up the relations with them. You are not trying to creating a visibility for yourself in the public at large. You try to create a visibility among a specific group which is relevant for you, right? Why would you want to go put yourself on a banner somewhere on a crossroad when you are, what matters to you is the people who are surrounding you, or relevant people to you. You focus on people who are relevant and not the public at large. Public relations will deal with public at large. Okay? In general, the general population who may or may not be relevant. In networking, you focus on people who are relevant to you. Okay? Anmol, does that answer the question? The difference? How can I improve spoken skills, communication according to the corporate like jargons? Don't use jargon. People hate jargons. Okay? And I don't want to use these words, but if people are speaking in a lot of jargon terms, many people kind of fall asleep. They are just not interested in that. Taking shortcuts in life are always bad, or we can take sometimes to solve the problem. What kind of shortcut are you talking about, Shubhendu? So that is the question. Okay, it depends on what you are using. Okay. But yeah, in general, you have, if you want to see proper results, then you have to put in a proper effort. You can't cut down on the effort, okay? Because the result will not be full and proper otherwise. There are more questions. How to develop vocabulary? Vocabulary, the spelling is VOCABULARY, Gayatri. Reading, writing, that's it. And the habit of that. Okay. Dedicated time to reading, dedicated time to writing every day. Just do that. It will develop your vocabulary. Listening to people, even that develops vocabulary. Okay. How can a person with introverted personality who doesn't really communicate with people much can maintain relationship with others? Introvert, okay, introvert is like it is something that you were communicating only with a relevant group or a reserved group, and you are not out to shout with people at the top of the voice. That is fine, but then whoever are the relevant people or the reserved group you have, at least you will maintain relationship with them. Okay. So it's not where you go out and give a speech to everybody. Maybe you don't. But to the people who are relevant to you, you have to talk, right? You have to communicate. So doesn't matter if you're introverted, like that reserved group, at least you begin communicating with. And I had a team member like this. Interesting. This is very interesting because I had a team member like that who said that I am very introvert, and I am not used to communicating one to many. I prefer talking to people one to one and chatting and conversing with people like that. Okay. But even he recognized or realized the importance of one to many communication in some point of time. So he started using it. He's very good at communicating, but he is not comfortable in a one to many situation. Okay, slowly he had to develop that. He started working with a close group of two people, three people, four people, like that. Okay, brilliant. Okay, any other questions? I read, but I'm not regular. So do that, and my theory is that you invest in something, you are mandated to do it. Like there is a journal, or there's in fact a newspaper that I find very interesting. I just close my eyes and I subscribe now because I have a stake in that. So I will be like, ये नहीं पढ़ा तो पैसा waste जाएगा. So I will read. Like it's that you are mandated and you surround yourself with it. Okay, everywhere it is visible. Books everywhere they are there. So you see it and you pick it up. Okay, right. Other than that, you have to mandate. Okay, that आधा घंटा अलार्म बज गया तो उस वक्त पढ़ना है. You can do like that. Okay, या उस टाइम लिखना है. That's it. Mandate yourself, discipline yourself. How to get the motivation? अरे like you think of this that अगर वो नहीं हुआ तो फिर क्या होगा? If motivation is not coming, then use the fear. No, I'm just joking. But use it, you have to form a habit. It's habit. See, good habit is very difficult to form, but once you have formed it, then it's very easy to maintain. Okay? Bad habit is very easy to form, but it's difficult to maintain because what happens is you develop that habit of watching Netflix, and then you go and you maintain, and then you are cursing yourself. कि इतना सारा time you are not comfortable with that habit. In a good habit, you after that you are comfortable, you are happy that you are in that habit. Okay, brilliant. Okay guys, thank you so much. It was very nice talking to all of you. And how did you find it? Did you find it useful? If you have to give me marks from 10, how many would you give? I really want to know this because I want to understand how useful it is for you. How was you know will you be able to apply it? Will you be able to use it? How did you find average college, average marks? All of this doesn't is it's not any barrier. 8, thanks Mohsin. 10, thank you so much Nazam. Thanks Komal, Dr. Santosh. 10 out of 10, thank you. Not 10, it was 11. Thank you so much. Thank you guys. Okay, bye. Have a nice weekend.